Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission here is pretty simple. You give us the sources, and we try to cut through the surface level to find those subtle truths, the essential mechanics you need to know.
Hmm.
And today we are exploring a deeply personal and I think often misunderstood spiritual concept.
It really is.
We're looking at the divine mechanism of Bhog, that's worldly experience, and the path to liberation, specifically through the lens of Devi Upāsanā.
Yeah, and it's a conversation that sits right at the heart of devotion. I mean, if you spend any time in a devotional tradition, you'll hear this beautiful statement all the time, Devi ma bhog deti hai, moksha deti hai.
The Divine Mother gives us both experience and liberation.
Exactly.
And that language, that expression, it's so powerful. It belongs entirely to the Bhaktavali, that deep emotional bhava of the devotee.
It does, and from that perspective, it's absolutely true.
But for this deep dive, we want to pull back the curtain a little. We want to understand the actual machinery that's, running the show. We're looking for the truth that is far more subtle, especially when it comes to how we get joy, struggle, wealth, loss, all of it, the blog.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And to do that, we have to start with what feels like a paradox. Because while it feels so comforting to believe the divine is personally handing out rewards or punishments, the subtle truth is that Bhog is, well, never directly distributed by the divine in that way.
Okay, let's just stop right there. That's a huge claim. If the Divine Mother is the source of everything, but she isn't personally distributing these experiences, the promotion, the health scare, whatever it is, then what is? What's the actual delivery system?
The delivery system is the law of cause and effect.
Karma.
It's karma. Bhog comes only through karma. Always. And that right there is the foundational insight for this deep dive. It's also probably the hardest concept for devotees to really reconcile.
Because it feels so transactional, so impersonal. So let's unpack this idea, the universality of karma. You're saying that even if you're engaged in the most intense upāsanā, the most sincere worship, that law is never suspended.
Never. The cosmic ledger balances itself. You perform an action, a karma, and that action creates a result. Your present experience, the Bhog you're having right now, is simply the ripening of old actions. We call it prabdha.
Okay, can we clarify prabdha for anyone less familiar? Is that the part of our karma that's basically locked in for this lifetime?
Well,
the stuff that's inescapable?
That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
Prabdha is the portion of your past karma that's ready to ripen and must be experienced now. No deity, no matter how powerful, overrides that system.
So Devi Ma isn't some cosmic accountant logging in to change the entries in your personal ledger.
Not at all. Think of the divine as the creator of a perfect universal operating system. The creator doesn't need to go in and manually change the code for every single transaction. The code is already perfect. It's self-executing.
So, if a devotee prays intensely for a new job and they get it, we should resist that knee-jerk reaction that Devi Ma just reached down and made it happen.
Absolutely. If that Bhog, that success, shows up, it means one of two things happen. Either the prabdha for that success was already scheduled to be delivered, or the devotee did the necessary karmas in this life. They studied, they networked, they aced the interview.
So giving exclusive credit to the divine for that specific thing is, what, a misunderstanding.
It risks missing the point. It misses the sheer genius of the universe she created.
But then, what about the devotee's profound feeling? Because when someone says, Manidiya, Mother gave this to me, they mean it from the bottom of their soul. Are they just wrong?
No, not at all. That's the nuance here. From the standpoint of the bhakta, it's completely valid.
Why?
Because everything that exists is ultimately Devi Ma herself. The law of karma couldn't function without her as the substratum of reality. The job couldn't exist. So philosophically, it's always true. But the key distinction is, she didn't personally sit down and intervene. The perfect system she already created delivered the result.
And that distinction is so important because it helps us dismantle one of the most common and maybe limiting ideas in spiritual practice. The feeling that when things are tough, Devi Ma is testing me.
Ah, yes, that one. And I have to be blunt here, based on the sources. That idea is usually rooted in the ego.
It sounds harsh, but why? Why is it ego?
Because it implies that a devata needs to suspend the functioning of this vast automated cosmic system just to focus on your journey. It gives us a sense of personal importance that just doesn't align with the scale of the cosmos. The universe isn't micromanaging individuals like that.
So if it's not a personal test and it's not the divine deciding, okay, you get 5 days of suffering now, then what is handling all these millions of intersecting karmas at the same time?
It's the perfectly automated system. It runs on divine law. Guru Nanak had a beautiful word for this. Hukum,
The cosmic order.
the cosmic order. It's this flawless, magnificent system through which everything runs: karma, rebirth, experience, evolution itself. The system does the work.
It sounds less like a deity and more like the most complex, error-free software ever written.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
The system of Hukum is so intelligent that personal one-off manual interventions just aren't needed. And that shifts our whole perspective, doesn't it?
It does. It moves us away from this idea of a direct negotiation, I beg she intervenes, to realizing we're living inside this vast pre-designed structure.
Exactly.
And that idea of a pre-designed structure brings us perfectly to the video game analogy that our sources use.
Right. We tend to look at success or failure as something happening right now, something spontaneous.
Fresh in the moment.
Yeah. But if we connect it to Hukum and Prarabdha, whatever Bhog we experience was actually already decided before we even entered this lifetime.
Before we entered the game.
Yes. Even that amazing fulfillment that seems to happen because of your deep worship right now, that was already mapped out in the sequence.
But wait, hang on. If the fulfillment was pre-designed, doesn't that make the bhakti, the devotee's prayer, kind of irrelevant? Are we just actors reading lines from a script we didn't write?
That's the critical question. And the answer is no. The bhakti is never irrelevant. Its purpose is just misunderstood. The divine has one single motivation.
And that is?
Your liberation. Your freedom from the bondage of repeated birth. Devi Ma is not interested in your comfort, your temporary wealth, or your pleasure. She only cares about freeing you.
So her goal isn't to upgrade our material life, but to upgrade our spiritual consciousness.
Absolutely. The experiences that show up, the Bhog, they might look like grace, but their real purpose is to strengthen your surrender. That success is designed to deepen your faith, to shift your inner orientation toward the divine.
But if the experience just ties you tighter to the world, like you get the new house and then you're just terrified of losing it,
then the objective of liberation has been hindered, not helped.
This brings us to the real power of Upāsanā. If the practice doesn't change the external events, the karma, then what is it actually transforming?
It transforms the internal receiving mechanism. Devi Ma doesn't give or take Bhog. She loosens the bondage created by Bhog. That is the real measurable difference.
So the external weather stays the same, but your internal barometer changes completely.
Exactly. The fundamental change happens at the mind level, at the level of the citta. This is where the wisdom awakens. And that awakening is her true grace. When the mind shifts, the world looks the same, but your interaction with it is totally different.
Can you give us a tangible example? What does that look like in daily life when the citta is transformed?
Okay, let's take two people who both suffer a big financial loss. The person whose mind is bound by Maya is shattered. They're dominated by fear, defined by that loss for years. But for the person whose citta has been touched by grace, the external event is the same. The loss still happens, but it doesn't stick. Fear might arise, but it doesn't dominate. They feel the grief, but they keep their inner balance.
It's the difference between being knocked over by the wave and just feeling the spray, but staying on your feet.
Perfect analogy. And if that mental shift doesn't happen, if a reward makes you more possessive or a loss makes you bitter, then that wasn't grace. That was just Maya continuing its conditioning.
Let's talk about the sequence of desire, prayer, and fulfillment, because this is where I think most people miss the bigger picture.
Yes.
The thought process is so linear. I wanted something. I asked the Divine Mother. She gave it. And that's where the thinking stops.
And the most critical question is almost always missed.
Which is?
Why did that desire arise in the first place? We assume we consciously created it, but that thought didn't just appear out of nowhere.
Right. Desires aren't created by us in a vacuum.
They arise from pre-existing sanskars, the deep imprints, the conditioning from past lives and actions. Your mind's job is just to play out that programming. You're always going to ask for that specific Bhog because of your conditioning.
So the entire sequence, the desire popping up, the prayer, the faith, the fulfillment, it was all part of a design scene.
A design scene. The purpose wasn't the thing itself. The sequence is designed so the desire arises from conditioning, faith is exercised through prayer, fulfillment happens through prarabdha, and this is the most important part, bhakti strengthens.
So the Bhog was just a prop. The real objective was inner alignment.
That was the whole point.
Wow. That really changes the definition of spiritual maturity, doesn't it? If the goal isn't to control outcomes or even desires, what is the ultimate fruit of a mature Upāsanā?
The highest function, the most profound grace, is that Devi Ma gradually and gently dissolves desire itself. It's not about fighting your desires. It's that things that once felt so essential just start to feel insignificant. The attachment weakens on its own.
It's like trying to break a chain versus realizing you were never really chained up to begin with.
That's it, exactly. The scriptures say Devi gives Bhog and takes you beyond fog, and she does it not by breaking the law of karma, but by transforming your internal intelligence and your deepest attachments, your vasanas.
So how can you, the listener, spot a genuine Upāsana, a mature devotee in daily life? What's the observable behavior?
They have inner balance. Regardless of what's happening outside,
Yeah.
Bhog comes, Bhog goes. Their core equilibrium is untouched. There's immense gratitude when good things happen, but there's zero expectation that it has to stay. They see the experience as a passing scene, not a prize to be hoarded.
It's true detachment.
It is. And the ultimate sign of this maturity, it's internal silence. Your Upāsana has truly matured the day that the question, who gave me this success or this suffering, just disappears. Because you finally understand that it's all just the perfect automated system of hukum at work. And that system is the divine.
Okay, let's bring this all back home. Let's summarize the core essence for you today. We've really set up two fundamental pillars here. First, Bhog, worldly experience, comes solely from the function of karma.
And second, the true purpose of Devi Upāsana is to dissolve your internal bondage to that Bhog, so it doesn't leave an imprint of attachment or fear.
The ultimate takeaway here is a total refocusing of your energy. Anyone who makes Bhog comfort, success, getting what you want, the end goal of their worship is missing Devi Ma completely. She was never interested in just upgrading your temporary life. She was interested in the much grander project of freeing you from it entirely.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to take with you. If every experience, good or bad, is designed with impeccable timing to strengthen your surrender and shift you toward liberation, what specific life event that you currently credit to just luck or fate might you now recognize as an impeccably timed, pre-designed push toward your ultimate freedom? Think about it until the next deep dive.